Preface. This book is meant to serve as a map of how money has transformed throughout human civilization. We are on the verge of a change in our monetary system which rarely occurs. By examining the past, we can get valuable insight into how the monetary structure will evolve in the future. Money used in civilization is usually structured in layers. The information in this book will help the audience become familiar with the layered structure of money and teach how one can navigate the various layers of money for their own benefit. Chapter 1. Fiorino di Oro, Florin of Gold. Before money, humans utilized altruistic behaviors for trade. An example of an altruistic behavior is like how monkeys groom each other. Then, humans began using everyday objects for trade such as shells or iron tools. But over time, silver and gold were adopted as the common universal forms of money due to their durability and rarity. This shift to using precious metals provided two benefits. The first is that humans can now pass on generational wealth due to the metal's durability. The second is because of the precious metal's universal acceptance, trade was possible with complete strangers around the world due to everything being denominated in those precious metals. Despite prices of everything being denominated in gold and silver, the rate of trade was still hampered because gold and silver used for trade were of various size and purity. There was a desperate need for uniformity in the money used. The first gold coins used can be dated to 700 BC in modern-day Turkey. The coins were equivalent in weight and metal content. This property of every coin being the same and indistinguishable from one another is termed fungibility. And because these coins represented various values, it was possible to use them to buy both cheap and expensive items. Additionally, by making these coins difficult to counterfeit, trust was garnered between the buyer and the seller since the coins used in trade were most likely authentic. The uniformity of money meant that trade velocity increased since the coins didn't need to be audited for authenticity every time trade occurred. The Roman Empire was the first civilization to grow big enough to influence other civilizations of the world. The denarii was a currency used by the Roman Empire. Because the influence of the Roman Empire was so vast, the denarii eventually made its way around the world to various parts of Europe, Asia, and Africa. By the 2nd century, the denarii contained 80% silver, a decrease from the 98% purity it had in the century prior. By the 3rd century, each denarii contained 5% silver. Throughout history, governments could not resist the temptation to devalue their money through inflation. This cheapening of money ultimately led to instability in prices and societal vulnerabilities. The florin was the currency of Florence, Venice, Genoa, and Pisa. The florin was a gold coin that was consistent in weight and purity for 4 centuries. At the time, there were thousands of different coins in circulation. The consistency and uniformity in value of the florin ultimately made it the most trusted and stable monetary denomination. Thus, the gold florin became the world's first reserve currency. Although coins were a major upgrade from the non-uniform forms of precious metals, they still pose two problems. The first is coin multiplicity. There were simply too many different types of currencies that made trade between various geological regions difficult. The second is the risk of physical transfer, where money could be lost due to shipwreck during transportation. These two problems meant the velocity of money, which is the transfer of money from one owner to another, was slow, effectively hampering trade between different regions. Due to the common occurrence of shipwrecks, a system of credit was established. This system of credit meant that trade would occur first, and the buyer and seller would settle their transactions at a later time.